Fat Talk with Web is back. What's going on, y'all? Just some almost midweek thoughts. Like I said, we're going into the Eastern Illinois game. I got some positives. I got some negatives. Obviously, the negatives are, all the turnovers we had in the game against, in my opinion, right now, the best defense in the SEC and the best defense, probably top three in the country. For what you can say about Oklahoma on offense, you can't say it about defense. They've got a great, great, great defense. Now, there's a lot of things, like I said, not to beat it at nauseum, like, Ty Simpson not hitting open receivers, Ty Simpson having 3 turnovers, having the 1 pick 6, having the 1 turnover on kickoff where Ryan Williams, muffs it and gets it stripped. Hats off to Oklahoma because they played a great, great job, and they did what they had to do to win, and that's what you do in games. And so, first off, that. Obviously, there's things that we need to work on going against Eastern Illinois. I think that's what this game is. Like, you don't overlook this team, but you try to fix all those glaring errors. Like, let's fix the right hand side of the line. Let's, work on running backs not whiffing blocks. I love Jam Miller, but he whiffed 2 massive blocks that stopped 2 drives. Let's work on getting confidence with Connor Talty. I mean, I get it. The snap was bad on the 1 field goal inside the 12, but he was knuckleballing that bitch before anybody touched it. That's plain and simple. You knuckleballed it, regardless of that guy's hand barely touched it. You knuckled it. It was a bad kick. And most of Alabama, I'm not beating up on Colonel Talty because I think he could be a great redemption story, kind of like Van Tiffen was. You we saw what Van Tiffen did in 06, and then we saw what he did the rest of his career, became the all-time leading scorer in Alabama history. So, that being said, this year, I don't think even the coaches low-key trust him to win a game. I mean, if they did trust him, why do you think they had a 4th down and they went for it with 6 seconds left to get him closer inside the 12 to try to make that? Obviously, he's got to work on those issues, but at quarterback, Ty Simpson is doing a lot of things that is concerning. He's fumbled the ball in 5 straight games. That can be fixed. Some of that is blocking issues, and some of that last game, they rotated a lot of linemen in that game. They didn't just stick with 1 or 2 guys, which some of that hurts for continuity. We see that very, very plainly. Now we're in a 1-game season. That's plain as day. You play Eastern Illinois, you play Auburn. You win those, more than likely you're in the playoffs. Like I said, I don't really care about the SEC championship. A lot of fans do. I don't, because Georgia, they're in a great spot right now. They're in the spot for a bye week, and to not go to the SEC championship game and to sit at home so you don't get injured. Like I said, you injure your quarterback or some of your massive receivers in an SEC championship game, winning it or losing it, and then you go to the playoffs and you're like, great, now we're set up for failure. Like I said, I would rather not go. But the main thing is, just throw out the SEC championship. The main thing is, let's focus on 1-game season. Eastern Illinois, then Auburn. Auburn's a great defense, so we need to clean up those mistakes. Use this week to clean that up. Let's clean up the kicking game. Let's try our best to clean up that right side of the line and not have to rotate linemen constantly. Let's focus on getting the confidence back with Ty Simpson. Let's focus on that confidence so that when we go in this game, he can be more confident. Like he said, he's over or under throwing the long passes that people are opening or are presenting themselves. He's also not hitting open receivers on crossing routes that has stopped a few drives. So that's something we need to focus on. We need to do that. I think this last game was good because we found out who our number 1 running back is, Daniel Hill. Like I said, I know it sounds bad, but with Miller, I just feel like if he's going to run the ball, it's going to be 1 yard or it's going to be a loss. And leading up to this, or in this game, we had 7 and 9 running plays that were negative. That kills drives. I did like the fact that they're throwing on 1st down, running on 2nd down. I like that. I like that Ty is trying to get protections lined up better. With that being said, that's another thing with the running backs. This is not a coaching issue. Like, I guarantee they're screaming at their running backs, hey, make a block, pass block better. for everything this offensive line doesn't do great in run blocking, they are a pretty good pass blocking team. Now, most of the errors on that have come either from right hand side or your running backs just whiffing it. There was two. I remember Jam Miller just whiffed right up the middle. Linebacker up the middle missed. And then you got Ty running for his life. He can't set his feet, or he does set his feet. He's got happy feet, and he just chunks it way too early, and it's not accurate. These are things. Now, I will say this, going back to Ty, he does have elite numbers in the country. And a lot of people are saying, well, having 22 touchdowns and only 2 INTs are pretty dang good. I mean, Julian Sayin is playing nobody at Ohio State, and he's got 4 INTs. He threw 2 against Ohio. Okay, and you're playing nobody. Mendoza at Indiana, like I said, he threw 2 this last weekend. He's got 5 total, and he's playing nobody. So we don't need to pile on to the running back position, the line position, the quarterback. We just need to know that going forward, let's use this week as a one-game season to improve. Let's get the confidence back. Let's help Ty get there. Let's get some plays drawn up to get that offensive line some more confidence as well. And that's what this is all about. Like I said, you've got Brailsford, you got Proctor, who Brailsford's a first-round pick, Proctor's a first-round pick. The other 3 struggling a little bit. Now that's where you go into the portal and you fix that issue later. So that is what it is. Like I said, and I know that a lot of fans are down on the O-line coach and stuff, but he's coaching them boys up. Sometimes you just need a little more talent at that position. Now, the thing I would say for fans is frustrating is we're not seeing improvement as we go farther in the season. But we just, in my opinion, played right now the top defense in the country at this moment. It could change week to week. That had a huge impact, huge difference. We still put up enough points to win. You have 5 glaring errors. You take one of those errors away and we win the game. Now, if candy and nuts were butts, okay, great. But that is confidence. Now, we need to get the confidence back at the quarterback position. We need to get the confidence back a little bit in the screen game. We got about 80 yards rushing this game, which is a huge improvement for what we were seeing out of this Alabama team. So that should be an improvement. I think we know who the number 1 dude is. That's Daniel Hill at running back. So with that being said, let's get healthy this week. Let's get forward. Let's keep the starters in most of this game against Eastern Illinois. And let's get those kinks try to work out the best we can before we go down to Auburn. And another thing I want to talk about is, all those missed and whiffed blocks weren't also all on that right-hand side. Formby actually did better in this game when you look at his stats. And Carroll did. It's not just on them. We also don't have great tight ends. I mean, I think we as Bama fans can understand that. They don't seal that edge really good. Like, for everything that Cuevas does great in catching the ball and being a preeminent pass catcher and run after the catch, and he's doing great, he's not a big dude. He's not great at sealing that in. We talked about it last video. He's just not. Obviously, maybe we need to look in the portal. Now, if C.J. Dupree was back, that would definitely help because he was really good at sealing his edge, whatever side he was on. He was very good at that. I think that'll be a portal issue or even a recruiting issue. That's something that we will work on. Obviously, these coaches know it. We see it. They see it. Cool. Last thing I want to say is the DeBoer leaving stuff. I keep hearing that in these. Dude, what are you serious? They're like, oh, well, these pundits are saying, well, he just leave for somewhere where the pressure's not as hardcore like Penn State. No, Penn State fired their coach because he was not winning enough top 15 games. They fired him really quick. They fired a 10-win LSU-type Mark Richt coach and Brian Kelly because he wasn't either. So if you think you're going to leave that school and go to another big program and get to stay, if you have a bum record, it ain't happening. Nobody's throwing DeBoer out. Like, I challenge anybody else with a top 4 schedule like ours to not have a few losses. And to play the gauntlet we played, get out of here with that mess. Like, nobody's buying that. Like, that is insane. You think Ohio State or Indiana could play our schedule and not have 3 losses? I think they'd have 3 for sure. I've watched them play. I mean, you talk about Ohio State had to hang on to beat a bum-ass Texas team. And I'm not being mean to Texas. They're a good team, but they had Uncle Rico at that point playing quarterback for them. And they barely hung on. Barely hung on. I think the game, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the final score was like 14-7. So I don't believe that they'd have fared even as good as we would have fared. I think they would have struggled too. With that being said, they're a good team. So is Indiana. But I don't think this talk about, oh, he's just going to get upset and leave. Like, he knew what he was coming into. And he's doing one hell of a job. And regardless of how Auburn goes, I want him to stay our coach. He's a good portal coach. He's good at recruiting. He's good at putting coaches around him. I think we have one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I'll put him up against anybody, period. So we just got to hold the line. We got to make the corrections this week. 1-game season. Let's just play and win, and let's let happen what happens, and let's let it play out. Let's everybody stop. Let's walk back from the edge, and let's get there, and let's stay focused. The team's gonna stay focused, and nobody beats himself up more than Wilkin Formby for things that have happened. Jam Miller, Ty Simpson. So let's keep that in mind. They're beating themselves up too. We just got to hang in there. You can't be perfect. Hats off to Oklahoma. They found a way to win. Now, let's just focus on making the playoffs. Let's focus on what we got to do. Beat Eastern Illinois. Get a confidence game. Go into Auburn. Withstand the onslaught of the first and second quarter and get into the third and fourth and try to win the game. That's all. It's 1 quarter at a time, 1 play at a time, 1 set of series of downs at a time. That's all we got to do. Anyway, I'll be back later in the week to do a top 25 predictions of games, and y'all have a great week. Ty Talk Web is out.